What is up, YouTube party people? Today we are going to be talking about the abomination of the Lilo and Stitch remake. I know. A commentary YouTuber making a video on a live-action Disney remake?
How original.
I know. Give me your applause, please. This is a very controversial and brave hot take I am about to give you. The movie was dog shit. I know. The expectations were high, as they always are for Disney remakes, and unfortunately, this movie did not live up to them. Because I gotta be real, I wanted to make a Disney live-action remake video for a long time, but I just never really saw a movie that really compelled me to make one. Because let's be real, Snow White just came out. Nobody gives a fuck about Snow White. Do you give a fuck about Snow White? I don't give a fuck about Snow White. Do you give a fuck about Snow White? I don't think you do. Let's be real here. Let's be real. How many of y'all actually watched Snow White growing up? Show of hands. Yeah, that's what I thought. And maybe I'm just projecting my own experience onto everyone else, but I never once watched Snow White growing up and I never cared. Like, no one cared about that movie and it flopped. No one cared. So like, if you butcher Snow White, nobody cares. But if you butcher Lilo and Stitch, real shit, bro. Real shit. You do not mess with Lilo and Stitch, okay? Because it is the shit. It is absolute cinema. What can I say? So as a YouTuber, I felt the pull. So what I did for this movie was I put on my pirate hat and I sailed the 7 seas and I watched a cam rip. And now we're here. Let's get into it. So now I, a grown prehistoric aged woman, will now rant about a children's movie for 20 minutes. And I took notes. Let's go. Let's talk about the... So, just so you know, there's gonna be spoilers. I don't think you care. Do you care? I don't think you care. So basically, the movie was okay at best. Like, mid at best is what I can say for this movie, and the only reason it's even like remotely decent is because of the original plot being used for this. But even then, they took so many like creative liberties to change the plot that it's worse. None of the changes they make are good because the original already did everything right. So it's like if you change it, you're low-key just making it worse. But before we get into like the specific changes they made, I just want to say real quick, the pacing of this movie was absolute poop from a butt. Like poop smeared on a napkin is like my best description for it, because the pacing is abysmal. Like the very first scene where you have Stitch breaking out of the ship and whatever is so fast. It is so like snappy, and it takes like maybe like 3 minutes, and there's no time for anything to breathe, and there's no setup, there's no build up whatsoever. Everything is just moving from beat to beat in the plot. It's as if like you asked someone like, hey, can you tell me what happened in Lilo and Stitch? And then the writer just kind of did a recap. It's like a Spark Notes version of the original almost. It feels like the writers, they knew. They're like, you already know the original. You know the fucking original. You probably put it on for little Jimmy on Disney Plus like a few years ago. Y'all already know what's gonna happen. We don't need to actually flesh it out like we did in the original. Y'all already know why you're here. Y'all already know. It's just like, it's done so quickly, and it feels worse because it's done quickly. And even though it's done quickly, I gotta say this movie was boring as fuck. This was such a boring movie, and I'm not even saying that because my attention span is cooked, because my attention span is low-key cooked. But this movie, despite being 20 minutes longer than the original, doesn't feel like it adds any substance whatsoever. And it feels so drawn out, but it feels so short at the same time. Like, the pacing of it is so weird. Like, halfway through the movie, I was literally bored as and I was just checking the time. I'm like, oh my god, we still have half an hour. What are they even doing here? Literally, I was trying to resist going on my phone because it was just so boring. It was so fucking boring. It was not good at all. Why even bother with quality when they know that the majority of people are just gonna eat this slop up? And most of the parents taking their kids to this movie is simply because they need little Timmy to shut the fuck up for 2 hours. Like, why make a good story? Why? Why even do that? Why even make the story true to the original? Because I just want to nitpick some stuff real quick. Later on, during Lilo's introduction, you know how she like feeds the fish because they control the weather and stuff? And in the original, she says that. But it's implied she does that because of the trauma of her parents dying, right? Because her parents died in a car accident that was caused due to bad weather, right? So it's like, there is a reason she's doing all this. She's a very troubled child because she lost her parents. It's like all of that is taken out of this. Like, she describes feeding the fish just for like the hell of it. I don't even remember what the specific reasoning was, but it definitely wasn't because of this. She just did it for shits and giggles, right? It's like, haha, she's so quirky, hee. But in reality, there's like an actual plot-specific reason for her doing it. And it just feels like they almost like sanded down the edges of the original. They're like, no, we cannot talk about the trauma. We cannot talk about any of that whatsoever. We cannot tackle these subjects simply because, I don't know, kids can't fucking handle it or something. It's too woke. I don't understand. I think we need to pay a little more respect to children because I watched it as a kid and I understood it fully well. Like, what the fuck? It's not something crazy to introduce to the children. It's not that dark of it is a dark subject. But like, you can do it in a subtle and digestible way, and they just took all of that out of this. Dog shit, dog shit, dog shit! Seriously, bro. I don't know. It's just you don't have to sanitize it so much because later on, you know that scene where the social worker comes in and then Nani gets mad at Lilo because she low-key fucked up the whole visit? In this movie, it's just played off for laughs. Everything is played off for laughs. Nothing is really treated seriously when it should be treated seriously. In the original, it's funny, but it's also serious. You do take it seriously. In this one, it's just played for laughs. And it's done in a much more lazy way, and then it cuts to a screaming goat.
Oh, brother, this guy's...
Yo, the screaming goat jokes, by the way, are so fucking corny. I don't understand why all these movies keep bringing back a 12-year-old meme. These out-of-touch Hollywood executives are crazy for putting in this unfunny-ass goat. In this case, it's not as egregious because it doesn't have that unfunny scream, but it's still like a close-up shot of a screaming goat, and I just rolled my eyes. When I saw it, I was like, bruh, like, this ain't funny. Who is laughing at this shit? Nobody is laughing at this, and if you're laughing at it, more power to you, but I can tell you that the joke is drawn out and old. But that's not why we're here. I just had to rant about that for a second. And while we're going off on tangents, I also wanted to quickly talk about the visuals of this movie. Mid. Honestly, just mid. I don't think they were particularly egregious or anything like that. I gotta be real, I'm a little happy that they were faithful to the designs of like all the aliens and shit, but like they made Jumba look crazy. In the original, dare I say, he's kind of cute. He's got like this little chibi look going on. You know, he doesn't look like he's got pubes all over his face. You know what I mean? And Pleakley, I mean, he looks alright, I guess. I don't know. The eye looks freaky as hell, but he's got one eye, so I can't really imagine how any better they would do it. Stitch actually looks quite good. I will give him that. But the CGI, the budget of the movie really shows in this. It really shows that this was supposed to be like a streaming service movie, and then they decided to give it a theatrical release because the CGI... it's not the best. And they literally had to change so many plot lines, so many plot points because of the budget. Because in the original, you had the fucking hot shark alien guy chasing them. They removed him. They removed my hot alien zaddy out of the movie because of like CGI. I think the director was like, he just didn't translate well to live action, which I guess is valid, but that's what happens when you adapt a cartoon into live action. I mean, it was perfectly fine as a cartoon. You didn't really need to do all that, but you know, we gotta make that money. So I understand, I guess, but They fucked up Jumba, man. They fucked him up. Jumba. Is it Jumba? My bad. My bad. They did him so dirty. And there were so many visual gags that were just lost in translation because they just couldn't do it. I guess it was too expensive. I guess it was too woke. Because one of the visual gags in the original was the fact that Jumba and Pleakley would like dress up in clothes and they would still look like aliens. And that was like the joke, right? And in here, in this movie, they're just humans. They're walking around as humans. It's just much cheaper. That's fine. But like, you lose a lot of the charm by doing that. And that's gonna happen in a live action remake. You're gonna lose like 90% of the charm. The original's charm, the soul, the passion, if you will, la passion, is completely gone, which is fork found in kitchen when it comes to a live action remake. But it's just a shame. The original looks so beautiful. And can I just say, the original is such a treat to look at. Just a little tangent. You know, maybe I should make another video about this, about 2D animation, but 2D animation is so timeless. It is so beautiful to look at. I rewatched the original right after watching the remake, right? And I could just, the contrast. I was entertained by the original. I wasn't bored. It held up perfectly. It looked beautiful too. It's a treat to look at just by admiring the animation. I don't know about you guys, but when I watch animated movies, I'm like marveling at the animation because of the skill that it takes to go into these movies. And in this case, the live action remake was just mid as fuck. Even the acting from the actors felt shoehorned in. I think the best actor was probably Lilo. And it wasn't that good because she's a child, right? Child actors are not going to be the best actors, but I think she did well. Meanwhile, Nani was kind of like, I didn't really feel it. Also, why is she white? I know she's not technically white, she's Filipino, but I want to see the tan skin. I want the characters to look like their animated counterparts, and she didn't really look like that. But it is what it is. Lilo looked pretty accurate, I would say. So that's a plus, I guess. You get like a C+ for casting from me. And also 2D animation will always be superior to 3D animation, in my opinion, because 3D animation can look dated pretty quickly because it's always improving. It's always just like, we have to make this look as photorealistic as possible. It just, I don't really like it. It feels so soulless to me in comparison to 2D, which is just like, gorgeous, you know? And I gotta say this, I don't know if anyone agrees with me on this point, but I feel like remaking these in live action is almost disrespectful to the original. I don't know if that's a controversial take, but the way I perceive it, I mean, we all know it's for cash. We all know it's cash grabs, it's just nostalgia bait, but it just feels so disrespectful. It's as if it's undermining the fact that the original is animated. They're like, here, look, we remade it better so you can actually appreciate it more because it's live action, because I feel like the industry inherently feels as if live action is more valid, more mature, because animated movies do not get the same respect as a live action movie would. I just hate these remakes, bro. The originals hold up so well. They're completely fine. Animation is a perfect medium for telling stories that don't translate well in live action. That's how I see it. I don't see it as like, oh, it's inherently for children. And what's ironic is the original movie felt more like a solid family movie, while this one felt like a genuine children's movie. I felt goofy as fuck watching it, but then I watched the original and I was like still entertained. I was actually like perfectly entertained. This is a movie I could watch at any age and appreciate it because it's got something for everyone. But the new one is just clearly meant to put the kids in front of the screen and shut them up, and also have Disney adults suckle at the teat of Disney. That's really it. That's just how the remakes go. But anyways, I'm done talking about the visuals. Let's get back to the... more specifically, the ending, which is what everyone's talking about in regards to the movie, right? You probably know what happens, and if you don't, spoilers, obviously. But the ending is fucking crazy. It is like completely changing the message of the original, and I don't even think it was that horrible as people are saying. I think the execution was complete and utter poop from a booty hole, because in the end, Nani goes to college and loses custody of Lilo. Womp womp. She goes to college, I know. But my issue with it mainly stems from the fact that, one, you would not guess what she's fucking studying. She is studying marine biology. She's going to college for marine biology, and she's leaving Hawaii. Granted, she's going to UC San Diego, which is a great school for marine biology. Actually, it was my dream school too, and they waitlisted me. Fuck you, UCSD. But anyways, she goes there. And I think if you lived anywhere else in the US, UCSD would be a great school to go to marine biology for. But you live in Hawaii. You are in the mecca of marine biology. You are on an island surrounded by aquatic ambience, creatures, whatever the fuck. This is the perfect state to be in if you want to study marine bio. I just don't understand the decision here. I guess they sort of justified it by saying she got a full ride to UCSD, right? But I mean, aren't you a native Hawaiian? Can't you get like a discount on the tuition at Hawaii State University? I don't know, I'm talking out my ass, but I do think it was a stupid decision. Stupid writing decision for sure. They could have made her study literally anything else, but they said marine bio and sent her off to California when she lives in Hawaii. The one place that trumps California in marine bio is Hawaii. Just saying. That was dumb as hell. 2, it's just stupid, bruh. Like, she gets a portal gun, so she's able to visit Lilo whenever she wants. Kumbaya, everything's good, y'all, they can visit. But what I don't understand is, like, why couldn't you just commute then? Commute via portal gun. If you have a fucking portal gun, you can just go to class, come back. You don't have to leave your little sister. Am I crazy? And 2, actually no, 3, can't count. 3, why don't you just take her with you? Why don't you just take Lilo with you wherever you go? Who knows? There's literally anything else, you know? And I don't even hate the ending like a lot of people are. I think it was still kind of cute, but I just think it's like, okay, they completely changed the original. The original was all about family. They villainized one of the characters who ends up becoming a part of the family, Mr. Jumba, and they just made him a villain. There is no fucking family. It just completely negates the message of the original, which is like, nobody gets left behind. Family is family. In this case, it's like, no, you're gonna leave your little sister to go to college, which is like, she can go to college, you know, good for her. But I don't know, they could have executed it much better. And I also just want to mention one more thing, actually. The whole plot point of removing Captain Gantu because he's too expensive or he just doesn't look good in live action, so they made Jumba the villain. If you're gonna change the story that much, why don't you just make the CIA agent the villain? CIA agent chasing an alien. There you go. Perfect plot line. Like, what the fuck? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now let's go home and beat our meaties. That's all you had to do. I don't know, man. It was just such a mid movie. I'm so sick of these remakes. I appreciate a remake when they do change the story though. So you would have thought, oh, maybe that's not that bad that they're changing the story. But when you make it actively worse and you just kind of shit all over the message of the original, then it's like, okay, mid, dog shit, poop. Anyways, I don't really know if my points were getting across here. I just wanted to make a video on this. I'm a YouTuber. I gotta get those views. Why not talk about the Disney live action remakes? You know? Anyways, that's all I got. I'll see you on the flip side. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what I mean. You know how it go. You know how it go. Peace. Bye-bye.